Yeah, we got it bumping.
You need to disconnect that cable, cause if you want the truth, we at the round table. We give it real when the mothers ain't able. That's what it is when we at the round table.
Hey, what's going on, my good people? Y'all come on, get on in here. What's going on, Naylin? Misbehaving in the building. Where Boss and John at? They better get to this round table. Rochelle in here. Myrie. I like that name. We riding, baby. It's all about, it's all about Orrin and Orson, classic, sincere. And this ain't no disrespect, because I know some of y'all still using classic and sincere, and I love those names. Okay, like no disrespect to them, you know. So hey, what's going on, sarcastic? See my smoke sisters in here. Fire mama then slid through here. Serenity, what's going on, baby? Drama free.
Salute everybody in the building.
Yeah, we at the round table react, y'all. So yeah.
Much love. Yeah, people just banging down the doors getting in. My goodness. Drama free, misbehaving. Rochelle McNabb. Naylin is in house.
Murphy then slid up through here.
Lady Love, ASMR, Wise Queen.
Absolutely, Emily. Justice for them, man. And I don't know how many of y'all been keeping up with the trial, but you know, like I love that kind of stuff. You know, like I watch court TV. I wish I could. I wish it was televised, but it wasn't. So we had to listen. So I sat around, you know, all day with my headphones on. I love this kind of stuff, man. And it's some stuff that came out in this trial that it's some details that we got that answered some of the questions that we had. And we want to talk about it.
Yes, it is.
Emily, have you? Yeah, I've been on it, man. Yeah, I've been on it. And you know, I've been texting some of my smoke sisters back and forth about the trial, and Boss and John, I know I was getting on their nerves about it. You know. All they seeing me say in our little group chat is like, oh hell no. Did you just say that? This like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, but y'all, I'm telling y'all, it's some details that came out that, you know, we want to highlight, because it was, we had questions about it. And during this trial, we got some of the answers.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You know? And I know all of us covered the case. John covered it over on his channel. He did a really good job. Boss did a good job on it. I got some videos on it. I mean, this was a big deal. This was a big deal because we were still asking, even still to this day, even with the trial, during the trial, we're asking, where are the boys?
Yeah, I think this was my transition from Kanika, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. What's going on, Charity? Chef in the building. But yeah, you know, so like I said, we want to pull out some of the details. And I know a lot of y'all familiar with this case. Y'all should be. But we want to start. We want to take y'all where it all started.
Yeah,
so
this has been a long-awaited moment for everyone, for all of us.
Absolutely. Hey, Steph. Absolutely. So let's take them to where it started, John.
Oh no.
Oh, you know what time it is.
Hold on one second.
You know what time it is, folks.
Let's go where it all started.
Hold on. We can't do it. We can't do it unless we have Matt work in here, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Matt work.
Give it. It's processing.
B Woods in the building.
Hey, all right. Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
Here we go. Boom. Here we are.
John, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, John.
On planet Earth, we zoom in tonight where our story starts. Here in California City, California. The address 10717 Aspen Avenue, where our boys on December 20th of 2020 went missing on a 911 call that was made to the California City Police Department.
So you're gonna
Let's zoom down and take a look at the house at 10717 Aspen Avenue. This is the home of Jacqueline and Trezell West.
It looks totally different. They didn't
Much different.
It's been boarded up. It's boarded up now.
The infamous side yard, which was brought into the case as to where everything evolved and began.
Yeah, this is where it started. Yeah, this is where it started. This is where, and I'm just gonna say it. This is where the lie started. Where they started lying. This is where we was at with it, and this is what they, this is It was insane, but I mean, it's almost like, is it like some type of desert area?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kids actually call it the desert.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is it looks like this is a 2-parceled lot area. You could put 2 more homes right next to each other. It's that big.
Yep.
Here.
No, Kia.
There's a side area that was in contention with Trezell West being out here throwing wood out of this yard area and bringing it through this gated area into the house because it was cold and he wanted to make a fire.
Right. That's what he told us.
That's what he said.
That's what he told us. And y'all have to understand too, in the trial, they made a big deal about this gate. They made a really big deal about this gate because what we learned was that it was hard to open. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we learned many things about that gate.
Yeah, and they said it was hard to open. And here was like a close-up of it. This was the gate that they kept referring to. But like I said, they told us that this gate was really hard to get into. So then it had you asking the question, well, how did they get out? If it's too tough for a grown person, wasn't no kids opening that gate. That's what I took away from
it. And I believe that's why he stated in his statement that, I forgot I left the gate open.
Yeah.
But then I think he already knew that.
Yeah. But then, there was some discrepancy. They was going back and forth. You had Trezell like, Jacqueline left it open. She like, I didn't leave it open. He left it open. And like, it was too much. It was too much. Just lying. The truth don't change. And there was a lot of that in their statements, a lot. But like I said, they made a big deal about that gate because we were told that Orrin and Orson was playing outside while she was wrapping presents?
Yes.
She was wrapping presents in the living room. The kids was playing outside. And then at some point, the kids was just gone. That's the story that they gave us. That's the story. Now, I know when they first came out, at first we didn't hear from them. Like the first day or so, we didn't hear from them. But then when Ryan Dean, who's the mother, when Ryan Dean showed up, now all of a sudden they did their first interview. Now they want to talk about something, and that's how they came out. And this was the very first interview that they did. John, did you want to show them anything else on the map before we get into that first interview?
No, we're good. We're good to go. We are good
Okay.
to go.
All right, we're good. Okay. So yeah, I just want y'all. We want to go back over the statements that they made coming out the gate.
Coming out the gate.
Coming out the gate, baby.
Literally.
Literally coming out the gate. This is what they told us. So yeah, we need to listen to this. We need to do a little recap. So y'all, we riding. Don't worry about it. We riding.
Let's do it.
We just want to thank everyone in the community for all the support we've seen. We've helpless and seeing everybody out here really looking and helping out really means a lot. So tell us what happened the night the kids went missing.
Okay.
From our yard.
It was cold. I was gonna make a fire. It's a lot of wood in this area right here next to our house. I opened up the back gate. I'm throwing wood, bringing it inside the house. My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest two go outside and play with chalk on the back patio. Do not let them go on the dirt in the backyard. Keep them close. They was playing with chalk, and I came in the house. I saw them there. I went in the house. I came back out. I didn't see them now. I immediately went back in, asked my wife, "Did you see the boys?" She said, "No, they should be outside playing with chalk." I said, "Well, I didn't see them." So I came back outside and I started searching my backyard. I searched the whole thing. I realized that I left the gate open and I panicked, came inside the house, searched the house, me and my wife. Once that hadn't panned out, I got in the van. I looked down the street, both directions. It was getting dark, getting cold, and I got in the van and I hit a bunch of corners. I went down this street. I turned my light on. I searched. I called their names. Talked to a gentleman on the street on the other side over there. He didn't see me. So then I came home and I told my wife we need to call the cops. It's getting dark and I need help. We gotta get going. So I called the cops. Cops came. First thing they did was tell us to stay in the house so they can get a hold of us. And they had us just sitting there and we wanted to keep searching. But everybody came out in droves. And I wanted to thank you guys that night, but we couldn't go outside.
The cops told us the best are out here.
The best are out here searching. And we appreciate it. And nobody ever could tell, we could never talk to anybody. And that was the issue.
We just want to thank everybody.
We really want to
And
thank you guys.
please, if anybody has seen them, please call, let somebody know.
It call the cops, call California's the city police department. Call them and let them know what you've seen, if you see anything. Our boys, they are going to be rambunctious, okay? They are going to be here in this area. And I really would like to go into houses, but it's not because I want to invade people's privacy. I just want to know if
Make
they
sure.
make sure. That's it. Because I don't. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. If you got any questions.
Oh no, you're good.
Oh, okay.
I was just gonna say, this is the first time we're hearing from you guys, and I can't imagine what you guys are going through. I can't even fathom it. For you guys, for people who are thinking that there's some kind of foul play involved, we just spoke to the biological mother. She says she had a conversation with you guys, and that she thinks there's some kind of foul play involved. That she thinks you guys did something.
And that's understandable.
What's your response to that?
That's understandable. I would think the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, that's exactly the point. And if we can find our babies, then guess what? That's no. And that's all I want is to find our babies. That's it. And I talked to her this morning, and I really wanted to tell her that I am completely sorry because we were entrusted with her children, and they came to us, and they became our children. We named them, and they are our children, and so we want them back. So please, if y'all could get back on what you guys are doing. We should be able to get a hold of somebody, but they took all of our tech, so they wanted to, I guess, just rule us out, which makes sense. That's part of the investigation. So that's pretty much it.
Have you guys, you talked to the police all last night.
Yes.
Um, what, so you guys willfully gave them your
Everything.
technology,
Yes,
the car.
yes.
How did they get a search warrant? Did you
I
guys?
I,
Oh, no
I don't see
idea.
why they got one, but they got one. We
Yeah,
would
they
have let them
didn't
take
need one,
anything.
but
We would have let them take everything. We let them come in and search with us. We asked them to come do that.
What did they take?
Just tech, and that's it. Like our phones.
From the house? Did they?
Oh well, I guess should I answer that? Or?
Answer it does, yeah.
Okay, so into the okay, and I guess I don't even know.
I see. Yeah, we seriously felt like we needed to be out here. We did. Uh, Again, we were told the best are out here looking already. Just to stay put, they have more questions. There was literally a cop with us the whole time in
And
there.
he had sitting down. We would ask, can we go help? They had to sit
Said
down.
nope.
He said, no, we got the best out there.
So
We
it's
need
not.
you guys here in case we have more questions.
I don't want you guys thinking
We
we
don't.
didn't try. We actually
We
looked
tried.
before we called
We
the
looked,
police.
yes.
And I imagine the mind-boggling part is the search for information. What happened? Where are they?
Yes.
Et cetera, et cetera.
And we're, yeah.
And just so we are able to present the information correctly, at what time did you guys notice your kids went missing, and at what time were they reported missing to the police?
It's about, I believe, I think it was about 4:30, going on 5. It was getting dark, like I said,
Five-ish.
5-ish. That's about it. That's when everything played out.
And then when did you guys call the police to report them missing?
I don't,
After we searched
yeah.
a little bit around here, it was dark, so we definitely we got worried.
Would you say it was maybe within an hour, a couple hours?
No, it was within minutes of us getting finished with our search. It was within minutes.
What do you guys want people at home to understand about this situation? For them, even speaking about what you guys are feeling is difficult. What do you want them at home to understand about this whole situation?
We're going through it. It's difficult. I mean, everybody's making their own their own conclusions. They don't know anything. We're not sure like everything. We're not sure. We said what we knew, and if anybody has seen them uh, or anything, please call the police department.
Would you be willing to provide pictures, or do you have any?
They I have older pictures. All my newest were on my phone.
Okay.
A lot of people are speaking of this as after the math past tense. I want to talk about your kids in present tense. What kind of boys are these? Tell us about the boys.
Very playful, very rambunctious, and they do love to wrestle. They do love to kind of get rough with each
They're
other.
kids.
They're kids. Of course, they would love to go out, but so during the pandemic, we wasn't trying to go, out here, and so we stayed inside.
Yes.
Yes, we did. We searched before we called the cops. That's what we were saying.
What time did they come up missing?
They came missing right before it got dark. And then we called. I searched the property. I even drove around this neighborhood right here. I even talked to a gentleman on that side, one of those streets over there. I said, "Did you see some little black kids?" And that way looking for them. That's the way I was gonna come. But when I came back home, I decided to call the cops because it was dark. They couldn't have got away that fast.
And why did it take two people to go in the house and leave two kids out here by themselves? It should have been one parent going in and one parent right here watching the child, not two parents going in the house and leaving two little kids out here by themselves for 10 minutes.
No, they were in the backyard, and the back gate was open.
Out the backyard.
And the back gate was open, and I was getting wood from this lot here.
So you guys have been unresponsible, left the gate open, left some little kids outside with the gate open.
All right. Sorry, you guys were talking about your boys who you're, I understand. For a mother's intuition. I know you were saying, and we'll get your names after this, but you were saying how you feel like they're in this area. Uh, do you feel the same way? And what is the intuition? What is the sense you get? What do you think happened to your boys? Do you think someone took them? Do you think they're lost? Do you think
Yeah,
there may?
definitely. I definitely know they're not walking around. They're not that kind. They do not just roam around. These patches. They definitely, I think, definitely would have been picked up or something.
That was my assumption.
Have they ever taken off of the yard
Nope.
before?
No,
Nope.
They've never taken off
no.
before.
Now, I want to ask a question to you, John, you 54 Keys.
Mhm.
After watching that video, we know how we felt when we first saw this interview.
Mhm.
Right.
The feelings that we felt back then hit me right in the face again.
Absolutely.
It's
Uh,
like,
Absolutely.
it's
no
like,
doubt.
come on, like I believe the law enforcement felt the same thing we felt, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It was
Yeah.
like you look at the posture, the body language. Now that we know that they arrested them and charged them with these charges, it's like, what took so long?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we been knew this. Like what was y'all waiting on? We been knew this. Because it took them over a year
Yeah.
to arrest them.
And to look at this interview again to see how this story started, yeah, I'm sure, it hits everybody the same way. Now that they have learned a whole lot more, especially from the trial, that they outright lied.
Yeah.
Outright
Yeah.
lied.
Liars.
Can't even
And we knew
stand
it.
still to tell their lie.
Right. That's right. And one of the things that I remember pointing out in one of my videos was when they started the interview, when they asked them, like what happened, the very first thing Jacqueline said was from our yard. And I was like, wait, that didn't go together. It like what I mean, like I was so confused by that, man. And instantly I was like, she's lying. They're performing right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that was, a
Yep.
performance.
No doubt.
Nothing more.
No doubt
Nothing
about it.
more. You know.
Can you tell us what happened? And he bent over and said, okay,
Yeah.
Let me get this shit together.
yeah, here we go. It was cold.
Yeah.
I said, no.
real.
It was cold. I was out in the yard. I was throwing wood.
I don't mean to laugh, but it sounded like you were finna start telling a story, story out of a book.
For
Right.
real. That's what that was. That's exactly what it was.
It was okay. Here we go.
Oh, go ahead, boss. I'm sorry.
I was saying I agree with have you seen this podcast? Bad performance. Horrible.
Bad.
Yeah, they
Bad,
just
bad.
didn't know it. They had no idea of what they looked like in front of the news crew, in front of the cameras, and then in front of the American people. Not only in the United States, this is a not only national but worldwide case. This is a very big, high-profile case. And they just had no idea. Jacqueline, when she said that she had newer photos in her phone that they took, the tech that they took, she threw her head in a way that bothered me from day one. And she, if you watch that piece again, she cocked her head. And I'm going, okay, what, you don't know whether you have pictures of the children in your phone?
Right.
And that bothered me.
That
only to
bothered me
find
too.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, only to find out that the only pictures that were shown on the bulletin boards that they put out are pictures years ago
Yep.
of the children.
You know, when Trezell was talking, the first time I seen the interview, when he said they're going to be, you know what I thought he was going to say?
What?
Wearing this, wearing that. No, this nigga said that. Excuse me, I'm sorry. They're going to be rambunctious. If that's the only thing you could have thought of to say, my brother.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel you, boss. I feel you.
sorry
He
about
said it twice. He said it twice. And even the word rambunctious told me, okay, the kids were, rowdy, sometimes uncontrollable, make a lot of noise, running around as toddlers that age, 3 and 4, would do. But for him to even isolate just that word alone, that bothered me tremendously. That you always had to try to have the time to discipline them then is what shot through my mind.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, from the very start, we was all like, "Nah, something's not right with this."
Yeah.
From the very start, a lot of people was on it. And I try to wait for details, right? I tried to wait for the details to come out, but listen, from the very jump, I was like, "Yeah, I just couldn't stop shaking my head, and then to see them a year later come back, then they came back and told us this. Because don't forget, they had a whole story, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into some of the details, but I definitely want y'all to see this because, like I said, a year later, John or Boss, do y'all remember the exact date?
Yeah, this was March the 1st of 2022.
Okay. So I want y'all to listen to this. So after we didn't watch them come out here and lie to us, because that's what they did. They came out, gave us a show, and then a year later, she came out and told us this.
Good morning. My name is Cynthia Zimmer. I am Kern County's District Attorney. I have information about Orrin and Orson West, the 2 young boys who were reported missing from California City 14 months ago. On December 21st of 2020, Orrin was 4 years old and Orson was 3 years old. Their adoptive parents in California City, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, reported to the California City Police Department that the boys had disappeared from their backyard. The California City Police Department began a search for the boys in the area around their home. After a period of time, the FBI joined in the search, as did the California Highway Patrol and search and rescue from the Kern County Sheriff's Department. The community also came out to assist in looking for the boys, but to no avail. They were not located. 1 week later, crucial information came to light that necessitated the involvement of the Bakersfield Police Department and the Kern County District Attorney's Office. Law enforcement worked diligently, hundreds of hours in the next 12 months, looking for the boys. This morning, I'm saddened to announce that the investigation has revealed that Orrin and Orson West are deceased. The investigation has also revealed that they died 3 months before their adoptive parents reported them missing. However, I am pleased to announce that this week, the Kern County Grand Jury indicted Trezell and Jacqueline West, the adoptive parents, for the murder of Orrin and Orson West.
Okay, so yeah. So what that told me was they during their investigation, they gathered enough. They gathered enough. And it just makes me I think I was angry when she came out with this. Because again, like Boss said, we were asking, what took y'all so long? What took y'all so long? We didn't spotted them. They was out and shopping and we still to this day don't know where those kids are. Even now. And in this press conference that she did, she told us that crucial evidence came to light. And I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. They talked to those kids. They talked to the siblings.
Yep.
Because they had 6 kids. 2 biological, 4 foster children. And they talked to the other kids. Absolutely, Brandy. They was out. They was doing too much.
I felt like that was the only way they was gonna get the truth, because the kids had no reason to lie.
None whatsoever.
Right.
None whatsoever. So when they first came out to us, they told us that we heard that they dropped the kids off over Grandma Wanda house. I seen somebody in the chat said they should have locked Grandma Wanda up too. Y'all play too. Y'all. Somebody said they should have locked Miss Wanda up too. But I mean, for those who have been following the case, do y'all think Miss Wanda had something to do with that?
Good question. Good question. Good question.
I don't.
I don't think so.
I don't think she did.
I think they was lying to her like they was lying to everybody else.
Yep.
And she got mixed up in the story. But there's one video by AV Watchman. Boss, do you have that pulled up on your side?
Yes, ma'am. Let me grab that real quick and we can go with it.
Because we want to go over the story and some of the details that came out. And yeah, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I'm sorry.
And just to give you the angle, let me just do this real quick.
Okay.
As to from that press conference, they were directly here. Here's their house to the left, and the neighbor's house to the right. And according to that press conference, they were right here in front of cameras, lying to us about where those boys were, what Trezell was doing in the yard, what Jacqueline was doing in the house. All of this was scripted for them because they knew, beyond a shadow of a doubt, they knew it was going to come down time to get their story together. And they knew also that they had to tell that story one day.
Yep.
And that one day ended up the 22nd of December of 2020, right here in the streets on Aspen Avenue.
Right.
Now, we go not too far away on a separate side of the house to the left, and we go down the street, another double lot, not very far away, was a neighbor. And the neighbor who lived on this side of the street happened to have had a video surveillance camera that was posted on the side of his house. And that camera on the side of his house is right there.
Yep.
And that camera on the side of his house that's right there caught this visual of the house here.
Right. From that side. Absolutely.
From this side, correct.
John, you cold this map work, bro. You cold
with it. Ain't he?
You cold with it, bro.
And now what Boss is going to bring up is that video surveillance footage, that AV watchman. Thank goodness for him, and props and credit goes out to that brother who was there that night that he shared with us off of his channel what that video surveillance looked like during the time the boys allegedly went missing. So, Boss, I hand it over to you.
You on audio or muted?
No, we don't need no audio. We can talk through it.
Yeah, we can talk through it.
All right.
So here we have the date. I believe this was the, is this the 19th?
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about December 19th of 2020, where this side camera was. You can see the date right there, the timeline is at 11:32 in the morning. And this camera is pointed directly across that lot over to the West house, and it captures movement of the family that day. And in accordance with this video that was captured by AV Watchman, they count, along with the neighbor whose video it belongs to, they count individuals coming out of the house, leaving the premises.
Yep. And you have to understand when we got this footage, and again, kudos to him, man. Shout out to him. When we got this footage, we didn't know what to expect, you know, and then all of a sudden we seeing these people get in this van. But he's recording a recording. So now what we're watching is a recording of a recording of a recording.
Correct.
But
and here they come.
Here they come right here.
And I believe this is where he zooms in as best as he can without distorting the film and gets a glimpse of the family coming out to the van to get ready to leave the premises on that day. Boss did a good thing by slowing this down because we get to see two adults and what appears to be, off of this video footage, 4 of the children leaving with them to get into the van.
Right. And then don't forget, they're supposed to be going to Grandma Wanda's house.
Correct.
That's where they're headed, to Bakersfield. Yep. Brandy, that's right. 4 adults and 4 children. They counted it out in the recording. And there was only 4 kids got in that van.
This is 11:33:52 on the day of the 19th. And while this is streaming, you can actually see movement in and around the van now. And this was very well captured by AV Watchman off of his cell phone.
Yeah, he did a good job with this.
Yes, he did.
He did a real good job with this. I see a lot of people saying Wanda knew. We're going to get into it. Some of the things she said had me kind of like, wait a minute. But yeah, we're going to get into it.
Here we go. We got movement 1. Two. In the van.
Mm.
And moving. Getting into that side door of the van. Now, the van does have 2 double-sided doors. And we have the passenger door open, blocking the viewpoint of the boys getting into the van.
Right. You know, but again, they counted. It should have been 6 children and 2 adults.
Correct.
But it wasn't. They only counted 4 getting into this van. But we were led to believe that Orrin and Orson was with them.
Just saw another one go in.
And once again, it verifies on the 19th that only 4 of the boys were with them.
Absolutely. Only 4.
Only 4.
Makes you wonder what made them choose this date to do this.
Yeah.
And obviously, once they got to Bakersfield and dropped off the boys to Wanda's house, sure, she asked, well, where are Classic and Sincere, Orrin and Orson?
Mm-hmm.
And guess what she was told? They were over Jackie's mother's house.
And then I got a clip that I want y'all to hear too after this right here, because Wanda describes what happens when they make it to her house. And don't forget, in this video footage right here, this is where they're headed to. They're headed to her.
Right.
You know? Looks like all of them in the van now.
Yeah, I think all of them are in by now. I'm gonna go ahead and speed it back, put it back on
Okay.
regular speed.
Yeah, because they're getting ready to pull out. And to see this the way we do, and not a soul on the street, no one walking the dog.
Tiffany,
It was almost like the perfect time they made a move to get the boys, the 4 boys in the van, and then proceed to pull out.
Yeah. And again, they heading to Miss Wanda.
And we have the driver's side door now closed. Hence, they're on their way to Bakersfield. We have 11:36:57 on the morning of the 19th.
Yep. And like I said, they're headed there. So yeah, we can go to what Wanda describes when they got there. Now, this lady here that I'm about to play, y'all, she has done a very good job covering this case. And well, the trial. She's covering the trial. And she's reading from the transcripts.
But before you do, I just want to come back and give folks a visual real quick
Absolutely. You gotta, yeah, we gotta go to Bakersfield. Yes, that's where they went. That's where we need to go.
Let's pull up.
Pull on up on them, John.
All right, so got to go back to present. Now I want you to take a look at this. Here's the Aspen Avenue. Here's where they pulled away from the house. They traveled down this road to connect to Proctor Boulevard. Once they connect there, now look at this. Oh, this is what I want you to see. Look at the terrain from California City, California.
Like the desert.
This is in the middle of the desert,
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere. I just want everyone to finally get an idea of the terrain in this area. Talking about living off the grid.
Who would want to move there?
This is like
I
a
can't
crater.
go.
It's like a crater on the moon.
I can't go. I'm a city girl. I can't do nothing out there.
But watch this now. Once you hit Proctor, you begin to go north from California City. So you take Proctor through this area, and now look at the terrain again as we proceed to Bakersfield. Look at the terrain.
Oh man.
Not a house, a church, a gas station, not a building, a freaking rabbit hole.
That's what you call off the grid.
Off the
I
grid.
mean, who in their right mind would live out here?
And I guess that, it's for some people,
This is where
but
they're going. They're
yeah,
going to Potomac. They're going to Grandma's house right here. On this street, I can get down here. Yep, this is a street.
yep.
And here's a house.
Sure is.
Right there.
So when we seen them pulling out of that driveway, that's where they were going. They going to Grandma's house. So when they get there, listen to
this is almost an hour drive too.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's an important detail. Yeah,
Yes.
It was about an hour. Yeah, about an hour to get there. And so, like I said, John, what's her you know what I call her, Myra.
Well, her name is Jess, and she has her own YouTube channel. She is an attorney that has also been covering this case on her channel. She's been reading the transcripts of the case since day one. She's a lawyer of well over 23 years in terms of her background. She does criminal and I don't know if she's ever been a prosecutor, but she's a criminal defense attorney. And she's given her input through the transcripts that she was able to receive from the court, Kern County Courthouse. And what we have to share with you is part of her reading the transcripts to inform, obviously, her audience and anyone that's been following the case of all of the fine details, the questions, the answers, the statements, and tries to give you a vivid picture as to what's being spoken about during the course of the transcripts. So this is what we're going to share with you.
Yeah, and like I said, this part of the transcript, she's describing what's going on when Trezell and Jacqueline and the four boys get to her house. So listen to this real quick.
D.A. Smith then asked her about when the boys came to her house on December 19, 2020. She recalled that they had arrived and the 4 boys got out of the van, ran into the yard, and started playing. She told them to put their things in their house and then they could play. She said they stayed outside for a while and then went in the house. D.A. Smith next asked her about traveling that day to the credit union in the van. Wanda said she went in the van with Trezell and Jacqueline, and she sat in the front passenger seat, and they went to the credit union. She said Jacqueline and Trezell told her that Orrin and Orson were in the back seat asleep, but she said she didn't turn around and see them because it was getting dark and it was dark in the back. She said she only turned to her left and glanced back towards the first rear seat, and Jacqueline was sitting in the middle, raised up, so she never saw the back seat. The attorney asked, quote, "Was she blocking your view?" End quote. And Wanda replied, no. She couldn't see the far back and could only see towards the windows, adding that the seats in the van were high, so she couldn't see where the boys were. She said they then drove to the credit union on Truxton near the police station, and she didn't hear anything in the van because the music was on. The attorney asked her, quote, "Were you in the front passenger seat?" End quote. And she said she was. He asked, "Did you ever review the video of the passenger getting out at the credit union?" And she said no. He asked her, "Do you recall getting out at the credit union?" And she said it could have been her, but she can't recall. The attorney then asked her, "Did she get back in the car?" And Wanda said, "Yes. If I got out, I got back in." He then asked at any point, did she see Orrin or Orson in the van? She replied that she did not, and she also did not hear them in the van, saying if they were talking or crying, she didn't hear, quote, "any of that. The music was on," end quote. Wanda said that she was probably in the van for about 20 minutes, sitting there looking out the window and listening to music. She said she probably spoke with Jacqueline and Trezell, but she didn't recall the conversation. When they returned to the house, Wanda testified that she hopped out and said goodbye to Jacqueline and Trezell, and that she did not say goodbye to Orrin or Orson, quote, "because they were asleep," end quote. He asked, "Did you see them asleep?" And she said, "No, it's because they told her the children were asleep." D.A. Smith asked, "So you did not verify that they were back there, even though you hadn't seen them in 10 months? Wanda replied, quote, "No, I did not," end quote.
Okay, so wait a minute.
Wow.
Because, okay, so what she's saying is when they got to Wanda's house, they took her to get some money, and, so they made a couple stops.
Right.
But she never saw Orrin and Orson. But she was told that they were in the back seat, sleep. That's what she was told. But again, she never saw them. Now, one of the things that I told, I was talking to Boston John about it. I said, I know how my mama is with my kids. There is no way that I'm going to drive an hour to see my mother and them. And my mama would have woke the kids up. I probably could have told my mama, like, "Oh, mama, they sleep right now." My mama don't give a damn. Them her grandbabies. She's going to wake these kids up. Kiss on them, love on them, something.
That makes you wonder what type of relationship she had with Orrin and Orson. Because going by exactly what you just said.
Yep.
Grandmother who is, active in their grandkids' life, you ain't see them in 10 months, and now that you know they're in the vehicle that you're in, you don't even want to see them?
Right.
Not even see them, love on them, nothing?
Come on,
Since February.
Come on, man.
And then
since February.
Since February. She said she had not seen those kids since February. So you can't tell me if your parents have gone 10 months without seeing your kids, and then you get up there talking about they sleep. Oh, yeah, no, my mama's not going for that. She's not going. So that part kind of threw me a little bit. Because I'm like, why wouldn't you check on the kids? You ain't seen them.
Right.
But she said she didn't.
I don't think any grandparent not seeing all of the grandkids, since that time, would even put up with that. Well, what you talking about? They sleep. Get them out of the car.
Absolutely. But she didn't do that. She went on about her way with them other four children.
Now, did we get an explanation of why she went so long without seeing them kids in the first place?
They kept talking about COVID.
COVID, which I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
They used COVID as an excuse.
And I'm gonna keep it up buck with you. Before my mom passed, she was talking about watching my videos and how she didn't know how to navigate my page. And I said, "Ma, well, I'll come over there and I'll show you." She said, "Son, just wait till COVID over." You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
so
Right.
I don't know if though they were that way or not. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say that's BS, but at the same time, who knows? But I don't know. You tell me what you think.
Yeah.
That part bothered me. It really did. All because really, and I was going off my own emotion, and I know how my mom is about my children. And my mama, like I said before, she wouldn't have gave a damn about you talking about they were asleep. Wake them up. Get them up.
Yeah. Yep.
I couldn't keep
That's
my
what I would have said.
But again, she never saw the kids. She didn't hear them. She said because they had the music playing. And then I asked the same question. There was somebody who put a question in the chat and was like, why was those kids all the way in the back? I would think they're gonna be closer to the front since they the youngest.
Yeah. Yep. You would think so.
Good point. Great point.
You would think so.
You put them in the back of the van. And then there was one in closing arguments. They said that 2 car seats was in the back of that van, but they wasn't even tied down.
Yeah,
they
weren't
tightened.
fastened down.
They wasn't fastened.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
so
Lock Diva said, "I need proof of life."
Absolutely.
Let's think about it. Did she have a reason to think something was wrong? Because if she did, then maybe she would have. Hold on, let me put my eyes on them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe she didn't think nothing was going on. Maybe she didn't think they was in the harm's way, anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So,
but I'm just still saying though, boss, as a grandmother though.
Yeah.
Because I'm a grandma now, and you're not gonna pull up to my house and tell me my grandkids is outside, and I'm not laying eyes on them.
Right.
I just that part throws me.
No, I get you. No,
100%. 10 months since February. And that's what hit me over the head. I said, wait a minute. I said, Is that the right answer? Oh, they're asleep in the back of the van?
Yeah.
And she never put an eyeball on them?
Or is that the norm?
Hey.
Like they didn't care. Like they didn't care about them?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they cared about the biologicals. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I hope that ain't the case, but
yeah, I hope so either. I hope not either. Yep.
Brandy, I'm with you. I believe that it was all about the money. They was getting money off those kids. They was living off of them.
What, $1,000 each? That's $4,000 a month.
Absolutely.
That'd be enough to find a house to buy, and then find that house where they found it 1 hour away in almost a desolated desert in the middle of nowhere in California City, California. Well, we just got finished showing you. Why there? Why not stay close to the family?
Right.
The grid.
I'm sure that there were homes in and around Bakersfield that were up for sale during that time. And that's what struck me. Why so far away?
Yeah. I never really understood that, but what we did find out in the trial is that they had been looking for the house since May? And then they finally, closed on the house in September. And so this story that we showed y'all first is what they came out and gave us. And then these boys are nowhere to be found on the 19th. They're not there. They're not with them. And so the investigation had to go back 3 months to try to figure out where they were. 3 months. And it took us back to September. And they believed that the boys were gone in September. I believe that too.
Yeah.
I definitely believe that.
Something definitely about the month and the days in September where a lot of things had taken place. A lot of things.
That's right, Lovelace. Even now, we don't know. We don't know where they are.
Yeah.
And then, Larissa, we about to, I got you. I got you. Yep, we got you. But yeah, they had to go back to September to try to figure all this out. And so what we learned was that they closed on the house on September the 11th is when they received the keys. And the realtor, it was Robert. I can't remember the last name right now. Deeds, or is it Deeds, John?
I know the first name is Robert. I'm not sure of the last name.
Yeah, but Robert.
It sounds like it. It sounds like that. Maybe the last name.
Yeah, like Robert Deeds or something like that.
Right.
I know his first name is Robert. And so he met them there at the house in Cal City to give them the keys. One of the things that he said was he remembers seeing the kids and they was on the patio and they were in like a circle, like they were surrounding one child who he identified as Orson. So he don't remember seeing 2 small children. He just remembers seeing Orson when they got to this house. And he said that was on September the 11th. There's a span of about a week and a half where I feel like all this played out. And one of the kids, because again, they interviewed the other children. One of the kids told them that Orrin never left Bakersfield. That he never left Bakersfield. So these kids didn't go missing together. It was one, and then a couple days went past, maybe a week, 2 weeks. Now we got 2 gone.
Right. Because where they originally came from, we come out of California City, California. We go to the Casa Loma Apartments.
Yep. Dana, you said you think they were missing in May when they started looking for the house?
And according to this sign, it's the Casa Loma Apartments. I said, well, okay, Casa Loma Apartments.
Right.
But this is the apartment complex they came from. And here, this is a pretty exclusive residential area. It's gated in the front. It's got a keypad gate opener where you would get a number to open the gate according to your tenancy here.
Yeah, like you might have needed a code or something to get in there.
Some kind of a code to enter and leave. And we were looking for cameras that may have caught them during the time of their movements in and out of the Casa Loma Apartments when they came in and when they left. But guess what? We could not, well, according to Google Earth, Google Maps, we could not locate any type of camera devices that you would think an apartment complex would have in the event of an emergency.
Right.
As we've done in many other different cases, there's always a damn camera posted somewhere. And so we looked. We looked on poles. We looked across the street to other residential areas. We looked at corner traffic stops, lights. At first, I thought this would be a camera here, which would be convenient to be, especially at an entrance area like this.
Yeah. And we were told that one of the kids said that Orrin never left these apartments, that Orrin didn't make it to California City with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then what he told us was something happened. And if I'm not mistaken, it has something to do with them getting in trouble for chewing with their mouth open.
Right.
And so what Miss Wanda did was, I mean, not Miss Wanda, I'm sorry. What Jacqueline and Trezell and them did was put their food in a blender and put it in a bottle and gave it to them.
Mm.
And I was like, wait, we talking 3 and 4 year olds.
Ruthless.
Who blending up their food and putting, I don't know about that. They said that, oh, go ahead.
Who idea you think that was? We know who did it. Who idea you think that was? Because we got to think about the background of both of these people. And we know Trezell was in the service, right?
Yep.
Who would think of something so cruel to do?
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But this is what they did. And sometime during the night, either one was found throwing up. He was face down. And there was vomit coming out of his nose.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
And his skin was fading, is what the siblings said. And then the next day, when asked, well, where's Orrin? They like, we took care of it. Took care of it. Where he at? Because they never saw him after that. But Orson is still with them, but not Orrin. And none of the kids knew where they were. Jacqueline and Trezell had been lying to those kids. And I pointed out, remember John and Boss, when we were watching the trial earlier, and we heard them say miscalculations. They wasn't expecting, Jacqueline and Trezell was not expecting for police to speak to their children.
Right.
They were not expecting that. They had an issue with it. They took issue with that. Why? Because the kids had a story to tell. Mac and see, you know what? When that crossed my mind too, that maybe she put something in the bottle, like she poisoned him. That definitely crossed my mind. Because that was the last thing we heard, was that she put their food in a blender. And then the next day he's gone. Something's not right with that.
Mm-hmm.
Something's not right with it. But we had the siblings say, and I can't remember if it was Aiden or Adrian who said that they touched Orrin's body and he was cold.
And he was cold.
And then didn't the conversation come out where, they talked to the kid and was like, basically didn't want him to tell. Like, we gonna keep this between us type of thing. To a child.
10 years old.
Yep.
Now you have a conspiracy.
Yeah. That's exactly what that was.
Yeah.
you know. But
you have we don't have to tell, only because in the child's mind, they know they don't want to be taken away from their parents, and the parents don't want the kids taken away from them.
yeah,
So we'll keep it a secret. What?
a secret.
And you have a dead child. Orrin is now gone.
Yeah,
Here in Bakersfield.
yeah,
In Bakersfield. And keep that in mind. That was the most pronounced in the court trial.
yeah.
Now your mind goes back to the beginning of where we started and say, well, what the hell was Jacqueline and Trezell talking about at the press conference?
Right. Lying.
How could the kids have gone missing in California City, California, both of them together simultaneously? And now we find out that one of the children had passed here in Bakersfield.
Yep. One never left Bakersfield.
One never left. And now we're going to keep a secret.
And I just don't understand how they thought they was going to pull this off. I really don't.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel like, you know, then the second one was intentional. I mean, you didn't took his brother away.
There you go.
You know, and so when they got down there to Cal City, like I said, the realtor said that he seen them on September the 11th. And then we had a pest control guy who came over there on September the 15th. And he remembers seeing the kids. And he said one of them was in a, what did he call it? A carrier. So he made them, they left the house so he could do his job. And he said they went and sat in the van while he sprayed the house. And that was on the 15th. But then we get to Miss Wanda. And but before we play that little clip of her, before we leave Casa Loma Apartments, what I need y'all to understand too is Maria, which is Jacqueline's mother, stayed right next door to them in these apartments. So Maria is right there.
Not far.
Next door.
Next door is what they said in the trial. Next door.
Because as we have here, near the Casa Loma Apartments are two other apartment complexes right next door. This is Casa Loma here. This is the entrance that we just came from. And this is a big loop. It goes in and comes out. So there is two access points here, one to the left, one to the right, both gated.
Yeah.
And then right next door is another apartment complex.
Right. But in the trial, they made it sound like Maria lived like literally like right next door. You know what I mean? That's how it sounded to me. You know, right. I could be wrong, but they said next door.
This would be called King Square Apartments, right down the block. Also, same workout, double gate, push button access. Come back up, go down the block again, come back down. We have another apartment complex. All these are right next door to each other, folks. Right next door.
Yeah.
As you can see, same point. And this is the Bakersfield family apartments. So she could have lived in any one of these apartment complexes right next door, close by.
Okay, because I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I took it to mean next door, like wherever she was at, she was really close to them.
Yeah,
She was really close.
she could have been in this vicinity or thereabout, in and around the vicinity of the Casa Loma, close by.
Right.
I mean, that's what they said in the report today. It was next door. That's what they said.
Yeah. Yeah. But here's the thing: whether it's next door, another apartment complex that's in the area, she's close to them, extremely close.
And for
So
her not to see him,
not to see them. So I want y'all to listen to this real quick. So we're gonna go back to the lawyer, and in this clip right here, she's discussing Maria, and again, Maria needed a translator. So I want y'all to pay attention to this.
So the first witness to testify, which was on Wednesday, was Maria Martinez. Maria Martinez had actually started her testimony a little bit on the late side on Tuesday, and then she took the stand again for Wednesday morning. Now, she speaks Spanish, so during the testimony, there was the use of not just one, but two interpreters. One of the interpreters was actually swapped out during the testimony. But in any event, she is Jacqueline West's biological mother and the grandmother to Trezell and Jacqueline's two biological children. She explained in her testimony that she lived next door to Trezell and Jacqueline in Bakersfield at the Casa Loma apartments. She said she had also fostered and adopted children in the past, and that she would go with Jacqueline, and sometimes they would attend parenting classes together. She said that Trezell and Jacqueline were usually busy with the children, so she didn't really visit them very often, and she didn't interact often with them. She said she knew the names of her two biological children, but she stated that she did not know the names of the other four adopted children, including Orrin and Orson. She recalled that she had never babysat any of the children in 2019 or 2020, and that she specifically had not babysat when the family was in the process of moving from Bakersfield to Cal City. In fact, Maria said that she did not even know that they were moving to Cal City and only learned afterwards when Jacqueline called to tell her that they had purchased a home and had moved there. Maria revealed that when she traveled to Cal City and visited the home on October 10, 2020, she did so because she wanted to give Jacqueline some plants for their new home. And at that visit, she never entered the home. Instead, Jacqueline came out to the car to get the plants. So Maria never saw any of the children that day. She also explained that she spoke to Jacqueline occasionally using video calls and Facebook Messenger, but that Jacqueline never showed her the children or let her speak to them, which she thought was, quote, weird, end quote.
This even bothers me, y'all. These are supposed to be the grandparents. She didn't know their names, nothing. She knew the two biological kids.
seems like the norm to me.
That's insane to me. And then you live right there. Oh man, nah. And again, she didn't know nothing about them. I didn't understand that. I really didn't. So, okay. So then they make it back to Cal City. Maria talking about, look, she didn't even know they was going there until they moved. And it was like, wow, I mean, why wouldn't you tell her? I mean, did they think she would ask to see the kids before they left? I mean, what was all that about?
Right.
Absolutely. Have you seen this podcast? Absolutely. All 6 of them are her grandkids. So I can't understand, you know. I guess, like I said, I keep going back to how my mama would be. And I couldn't imagine living right next door to my mama. I wouldn't even want to live right next door to my mom. Because I know she'd be in the mix every day with those grandkids. You know, but But needless to say, none of them, her or Wanda, seem to know too much about these kids. At least Miss Wanda was watching them, the four of them. At least we do have that.
Yeah.
But when they moved to Cal City, like I said, they got the keys on the 11th. We got the pest control guy on the 15th. And then we got Miss Wanda. Miss Wanda came to help them. She actually rented them the U-Haul so they can move their stuff back and forth. And I think I have, she rented a U-Haul to help them. And they moved. They brought stuff back and forth. And then at one point, they were talking about they had more stuff to get, and they had took the U-Haul back. And because they had more stuff to get, Wanda said, well, let's go get the U-Haul again. We'll just rent it for another day. And that's what they did.
Now that's from December 18th into.
You mean September?
That's right. September 18th into the 19th.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's our critical month called September.
Yeah. And so I want y'all to hear this real quick, because Ms. Wanda, she talks about Ms. Wanda's statement regarding the September 18th and the 19th. Listen to this real quick.
She agreed to assist them when they moved to the house in September. She said she would go to California City and she would watch the four boys there, and she would rent a truck for them to move. She agreed to watch the four older boys, she said. Since she did not have a car, on September 18th, 2020, she rented a vehicle at Enterprise for herself to drive to California City. And after that, she stopped by a Bakersfield U-Haul, rented and paid for what she thought was a 10-foot moving truck. She received an email containing a receipt for the U-Haul, and that was admitted as an exhibit. Next, she traveled to California City somewhere between 11 and 12. She said when she got there, she entered the driveway, and Trezell and Jacqueline greeted her, and the four boys came out to help her. Wanda stated that she saw the four boys, AD, AND, DV, and DM. She did not see Orrin and Orson at that time. D.A. Smith asked her, did she ask where Orrin and Orson were? And she said no. She assumed that they were with Jacqueline's mother, Maria.
See? She assumed that they was with Maria. But then Maria talking about, look, I never seen the kids.
Mm-hmm.
She like, I ain't babysit the kids in 2019 or 2020.
But did you hear what she said when she started the story? She agreed to babysit the four kids. And that's before she even got there. So obviously, before she even got there, she knew she was babysitting
only four
kids. So why wouldn't she ask at that point? So she would not have to assume that the other two was at Maria's house. She didn't ask no question. She said, okay, I'll babysit the four. Like, why? What Orrin and Orson know? What happened to the other two? She didn't ask that question.
Right. She said she assumed that they was with Maria. And y'all heard what Maria said. Maria ain't seen them. Nobody has seen these kids. So understand this.
And that's a time box.
It is.
Because now Orrin and Orson are isolated.
They are.
Right here at this point, they are isolated. Away from the four other boys.
They are.
Why are they separating those two kids?
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't. And so we was trying to narrow down, exactly when, because they told us that Orrin never left Bakersfield. But then Orson made it to Cal City, but then wasn't there long. Because we got the guy on the 11th saying he's seen him. We got the pest control guy on the 15th saying he's seen him. But then by the time Ms. Wanda get there on the 18th, he's gone. Now Orson's gone on the 18th. And if I'm not mistaken, that part got a little low for me when I was listening to the trial. But John, didn't they say, because I asked y'all the question in our group chat, I was like, did she say they think Orson died on the 18th of September?
Yeah, that's what I picked up too. And once again, a critical time being on the time she was visiting on the 18th.
Because by the time she get there, he's gone.
Yeah, he's nowhere to be seen.
That's crazy to me. And so from the time the pest control got there on the 15th up until the 18th when Ms. Wanda got there, something happened to Orson.
Mm-hmm.
And again, when we go back to these kids' testimonies, these kids are telling us Orson and Orrin wasn't there with them.
And so at this point on the 18th, and as I, dropped it down in the group chat when we were, discussing it amongst each other, there is means, motive, and time opportunity right here.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
I mean, that's what I got from it.
Right.
He said if you were going to do something and you had to do it, this would be a perfect time. Why? Because you are in motion. You're moving. You're in transit.
Yeah.
And what better way not to put the kid in the van than to perhaps put him in the U-Haul?
Yep. Because I told you that's what I think.
And move him through like that. Why? Because the U-Haul's not yours. It's rented. You're going to be taking it back. And you're going to make sure that everything is cleaned out of it for the main purpose of being what? Re-rented again by somebody else. So it's an excellent cloaking measure, if you will. Therefore, no evidence can be traced back to you if it was that which they were trying to cover up.
Danny, that's what I think too. That Orson just, he was probably asking for his brother.
Yeah. It'd be out of his normal state.
I said the same thing.
Yep. Where's my brother? Where's my brother? Where's my brother? Where's my brother? And now he's crying. He's agitated. He's being quote unquote rambunctious.
Yeah.
Uncontrollable. Something happened.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like, when they came out and gave us that interview that we showed y'all, to me, at this point, they're confident because 3 months have gone past.
Mm-hmm.
They had plenty of time to clean and get this story together. They had plenty of time. And like they pointed out in the trial, they miscalculated the investigation because they didn't realize that the police could speak to their children. Sure he is, Mackin. Yeah, sure he is.
So now it gives us a better understanding as to the reason why they needed, about 44 search warrants?
They kept having to
I mean, the magnitude just for 2 boys that went missing, 44 search warrants for 2 missing boys. Think about that number. 44 search warrants. 2 different locations. Searches everywhere, starting from California City, California, where the story started, all the way to Bakersfield. They had to go backwards in time. That's where the DA found the timeline, backwards.
Right. Yep, they had to go back.
They had to go back.
And I knew it was something too, especially when we seen them digging up the backyard. When we seen this. And I was like, even at this point, I was like, they couldn't be looking for live kids under the dirt. At this point, they knew those kids were gone. Now, we were watching the movement. We just didn't understand all of the movement. We were trying to make sense of the movement.
Right.
But now it made sense. I was like, oh, okay. Because I even said, why are they digging up dirt looking for them?
Because there wasn't no footprints.
No footprints. And that was another detail. Yep, that was another detail that came out, that there was no footprints near this gate. There was a half a print. They said a half of an adult print, but no kid footprints whatsoever. But they wanted us to believe this is where they were when they went missing, December the 21st.
Exactly. You call the police and say your kid was missing, and they went out this gate. Why I don't see no kids' footprints going out this gate?
Right.
Explain that to me, brother. And what we heard today was when he was frustrated, they was ready to arrest him immediately because the story wasn't matching up.
Yeah.
The gate was hard. The gate also was hard to handle. Absolutely. According to the two investigators that checked that gate.
Yeah.
Hard to push open, hard to push close.
They ain't go out that gate.
No.
They never went out the gate. They never went out that gate. Nope. Period.
Maybe he didn't think about all that sand outside of that gate. He didn't think about footprints. Come on, bro.
None of that. Yeah, none of it.
And I'm sure when they did forensics on their phones, they also noticed that there were no current pictures, family pictures, if you will, of all 6 children, including Jacqueline and Trezell. Now, we heard Jacqueline say that she had newer pictures on her phone, the tech that they had taken when they got to Aspen Avenue. But they didn't find that to be true because Grandma Wanda wanted a picture, family picture, of all the kids and them in their robes, which she never got. So now think of it, September 18th, November, nothing for Thanksgiving. Nothing but Thanksgiving. No pictures? Damn, everybody takes pictures on Thanksgiving.
Right.
Family together and eating together, and they're, just doing what people do on Thanksgiving. No pictures. And here it is close to the Christmas holidays, still no pictures. Why?
Right.
Because the boys weren't with them. She wanted a group picture of all the kids.
Yeah. Incognito, you're right. They dug up the backyard because Jackie said the backyard, and the search dogs hit on a smell back there. They did. That's what came out in the trial. They did. They hit on something back there. And then we seen them digging up the backyard. They didn't find anything. So I wonder what that was all about.
Mm-hmm.
But they had plenty of time to get rid of them. Sweet Pea, you said you believe they both died in Bakersfield. G Money, you said they both died in. Okay. So some of y'all think, okay. So some of y'all think both of them was gone in Bakersfield. Based off of what came out of the trial, this is what I think. That one made it to Cal City. He wasn't there very long, but then on that whole move back and forth and getting their furniture and coming back and forth is when I feel like they may have taken him back to Bakersfield.
Mm-hmm.
Because one lady came out, one of the neighbors came out and said she saw them by a dumpster with like a blue cooler. She said she saw him with a blue cooler. They put this cooler in the dumpster.
I think that was Miss Solace.
I can't remember her
who
name.
made who made that statement about them late at night, and the sensor light came on, and she was looking, and she saw, you know, both Trezell and Jacqueline outside, gave a full description, and stuck to her statement. That's what she said she saw. That's who she said she saw, and that was it. Period.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows.
You said
And
what?
you
Bob?
figured if she had called the cops then, maybe the story wouldn't have gotten this far.
Right.
If she knew.
Starry Night, I'm with you. She said that fire at Wanda's was real suspect. Why burn a van seat? That bothered me too. But that didn't come up in the trial.
No, it didn't. Neither did John Walker, police chief of California City, California. Now, you figured if he was the one who was operating the investigation there in California City, California, and he was the one who had to be reported to in California City as to, you know, what was going on here at Aspen Avenue. You know, I said, well, where's John? Where's John? Where's the Chief John? Because he was the one who brought up the fact after several days of searching, after the dogs had been there, and after questioning Jacqueline and Trezell, that he felt in some way, shape, or form that there was some kind of foul play.
Yeah. and then somebody had made a comment about the some of the other cameras that was in the area. They never caught them on camera. Some of the neighbors were saying they didn't even know they had kids. That's crazy.
Yeah. And for Jacqueline to even say, oh yeah, we looked, and yet they weren't even seen on the streets, according to the camera view of the neighbor next door, the one we just got finished showing you earlier, of no one walking the streets with a flashlight or going up and down the streets at all. It took 6 minutes for Trezell to leave the house, go around the block, and come back to the house. 6 minutes.
Yep. And we even said back then, it like really 6 minutes? That's all you? No. Mm-mm.
Who looks for two boys, yours, for 6 minutes?
Right.
And you know, nobody, I don't think the guy he claimed he spoke with, he was never questioned. Do he exist?
That was missing too.
The guy who went around the corner and said, did you see my kids or whatever?
Because the defense never had that guy up on the stand. Yeah, I spoke to Trezell. Yeah, he was looking for his kids at night. I told him I didn't see him, this, that, and the other thing. He asked me to help him to look, and I looked on my street. Nothing.
John, this is the guy you was talking about, right?
Yeah, that's
Walker.
Police Chief John Walker. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was during this press conference, he made the statement of foul play. And I said, uh-oh, what is he talking about? But he never tipped his hand. He never showed his cards. Foul play came from Police Chief John Walker, California City, California Police Department.
And he was not a part of this trial. He wasn't a part of it.
Right.
And, you know, I can't say why, you know, but he did a lot of talking at the start of this. So I was expecting the scene, but we didn't. Starry Night, yeah, he didn't look. He wasn't looking for them kids.
Yeah.
And so now when you go back and look at the videos that we were putting out in the very beginning, it was like, oh, it all makes sense now. You know, we want the details. And in the very beginning, you know, a lot of us was being driven by emotion, and we knew something wasn't right. Something's not right with this. And the more details that came out in this trial, and y'all, when I say closing arguments was really good, it was. Yeah, John Walker is an actor. Yeah, and that's probably why they ain't bring him up.
This is the same night, and when the boys went missing, they grabbed the van, took it in for forensics, and found out what they needed to find out.
Yeah, and this house, I mean, it was a nice house inside and out, but it don't look that way, you know. After they boarded it up, it looked spooky.
Yeah, this is incredible here too, because when you can take a look at this backyard and what they did, and not to find footprints, even though there was chalk on that back squared off cement patio porch, it didn't say anything too much to the tracking dogs. They didn't get a hit there. They didn't get a hit at the gate or outside the gate if the boys had left that area through the gate.
Yeah, they never left.
And this is where, the police got their suspicions from. So wait a minute, we're not getting any response from, the crew and our tools out here. Are you sure that's what they said? And hence they began to re-interview Jacqueline and Trezell as to their story. The one that they started off with.
Right. And then there was a part in the trial where they talked about one of the boys talking about a smell in the van. Do you remember that?
Right.
Like
but it was never described as to what kind of smell it was.
No.
It was never explained.
Nope. I assumed, I'm like, were they talking about decomposition?
Right.
Because that's a very strong smell. And so for one of the kids to bring it up, it had me scratching my head. I'm like, wait. But they didn't find when they did the testing on the car, they didn't find any of that in there. They didn't find decomposition in the car. I mean, in that van. Yeah, it's a sad situation. It's a sad situation, but like I said, some details came out and I was just like, oh man, it all makes sense. And y'all, when I say the closing arguments was really good. Yeah. The state put on a hell of a case. They did. And so even during the trial, and I'm like, all they're doing is attacking the police procedures. Because what we found out was the body cams that they wore when they interviewed, when they went to the house, when the police went to the house, we found out that it had the incorrect date and time on it. So really, they just attacked me. The defense just really attacked how the case was handled. To me, that's all they had. That's all they. To me, that's all they had to go on.
So when you have that story that they began with, and then what they were finding out during the trial, we just do this real quick. And I said that I truly hope that this is the thing that sticks in the jury's mind, regardless of how the defense tried to tear apart the police department, especially California City, California, which she did a pretty good job so to speak, saying, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, they didn't have their body cam on here, and
Right.
all kinds of things to tear up the police department, which a good defense attorney has to attack. Here's one that she couldn't attack. And there were two pieces that went with this, and I'll give you the second piece after we give you the first. Let's take a listen.
Staggering testimony today in the trial of Trezell and Jacqueline West, accused of murdering their two adoptive boys more than 2 years ago. An interview with the couple's eldest biological son was played in court this afternoon. In it, the boy, who was 10 years old at the time, told investigators that his parents chopped up Orrin's food one night, blended it, and then put it in a bottle. He says his parents did this because Orrin chewed with his mouth open. Well, they went to bed, the boy says, and in the night he heard noises but didn't think anything of it. The next morning, the boy says Orrin was found face down on his mattress. The boy said he touched Orrin's body and it was cold, prompting gasps from the courtroom audience.
And KGT.com court reporter Jason Katowski is joining us in studio now with more on today's testimony. Jason, what else did the 12-year-old boy say?
Well, the boy in the video, he was 10 at the time, and he told investigators that that Orrin died about a week before they moved from Bakersfield, an apartment in Bakersfield, to a house in California City. He said that Orrin had the blended bottle of food and that later he stole a drink from Orson. After he stole the drink, he said that his parents told Orson to punch Orrin for taking that, and that later they all went to bed. He said he didn't see the punch, but he said they all went to bed. He said he heard some noises in the night, but didn't think anything of it because Orrin and Orson always made noises when they slept. The next morning, he saw Orrin face down on the mattress. He left the room to go to his schoolroom. They were being homeschooled at the time, and he didn't know what had happened. He said later he came back and his parents were crying, and he saw that Orrin had vomited, and his color was, according to him, fading. He said he touched the body, it was cold, and his parents asked him if they should call an ambulance. And they told him, if the police do come, there's a possibility that all of you guys could be taken away from us. So the boy said, no, we shouldn't call anyone. He said he was afraid that he'd be separated from his family. He says in the video that he doesn't know what they did with the body, but that they moved to California City about a week later. And 4 days after being in California City, Orson disappeared. He said the night before, Orson was in the house. In the middle of the night, he heard a noise, kind of a thump, as if a soap bottle was falling, is what he described it as. And that the next day, Orson was gone. So he said that was part of his live testimony today. That was not in the video.
And the parents, he says his parents told him that Orson went to their grandmother's house and he never saw him again, right?
Yes, that's right. He said that Orson was taken to his grandmother, Maria, who is Jacqueline West's mother, and that he never, they didn't explain why he left, and that he never saw Orson again.
So aside from the recorded interview, what about the boy's testimony on the witness stand today?
Sure, he seemed a little unsure at first, but then after they played the video, he seemed far more confident, and he maintained that Orrin did die and that Orson was taken from the house. And even under cross-examination, more than an hour of cross-examination, he said that Orrin and Orson had not been there for a long time and stuck to his story.
All right.
And stuck to his story. And we hope that story sticks in the jury's mind during the course of this current deliberation, because we are now on a verdict watch.
Yeah, that's where we at with it now, and I'm hoping, I know we made a couple bets, as far as, when they would deliver the verdict.
I say before the weekend, folks. Boss said, what'd you say, boss? I said before the weekend, because the way the prosecuting attorney, Eric Smith, laid out his closing arguments today was absolutely on point.
Oh, man.
Everything I hoped that he would lay out and emphasize, I was like, my ear was pressed so hard to the my little tablet over here. I said, "Okay, Eric, go ahead, lay it out." And he was
He did.
emphasizing all the points, and I said, "Yes, yes, yes." Would you say, boss? This case will be wrapped up when? Hopefully.
I say tomorrow. Well, I ain't gonna say tomorrow. Before Friday though. I definitely think it's gonna be before Friday.
I'm gonna say tomorrow.
I feel that.
I'm gonna say tomorrow. I want to just say something real quick with what I just heard in that article.
Yeah.
They use those kids' love that they had for their parents against them.
Yeah.
So they can protect them.
Yeah.
Remember when they asked them, should we call the police? You don't ask no kid, should you call the police? You're the adult.
Right.
You told them kids, if we let the police know, we gonna go to jail and y'all will be taken away from us.
Yeah.
Of course those kids are gonna say, no, don't call them.
Right.
So now you gonna use that against your kids, like, well, you said this, so now you involved.
Right.
Them are some scumbags, bro.
Yeah, big time.
That was terrible. And that's how they were attacking those kids. That's why I was telling y'all before. I'm like, listen, now they have to make these kids look like liars, because the kids' testimony is what made the case.
Yeah.
Their testimony made the case.
And hence the reason why they were on the phone with Aiden or Adrian, one of the two boys, in regards to them telling him, you don't have to say anything and you stand up and all this, remember what we talked about kind of language, but without saying it. Hence the FBI had the damn phones tapped. Thank goodness. And caught that.
Yeah, Fire Mama, you're right. She told when they made that phone call and from jail, when they made that phone call, they said, look, you ain't got to talk to nobody. They knew what they was putting these kids through, man. And remember what the I want to say it was the oldest boy who said that when he saw his mom and dad in that interview that we showed y'all at the start of this video, he said he was thinking that his dad knew they was out there lying. The kid said it because he knew the truth. And he was looking at it like, my mom and them out there lying.
Yeah, when they were doing the press conference, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. That was the video he was referring to. And he said at that moment, he said his mama and his daddy were lying. And then understand this, he knows the truth. The oldest boy knows the truth. Or, he know more than the other kids. Let's say that. He knows more than the other kids. But the other kids were being told, oh, they at grandma's house. They with Grandma Maria. And again, Maria got up there and said, I ain't babysat no kids. So if you haven't done anything to them, why lie? Lie for what?
Right. No reason to.
There was no reason to lie. But again, because they knew the truth was going to lead to this. Where we at with it right now?
Yeah.
And they, so I've always suspected, and I'm gonna be honest, especially when I first heard about it, I was in my feelings. But I've always suspected that they did something, and that those boys were no longer with us.
That's what Ryan Dean said.
Yeah.
That she felt that they did something to her children. That was day one right there. Yep. She said it right there at a press conference. Same day they did the press conference when they told us the big story, the big lie. Ryan Dean said it right there. I believe that they did something to my babies.
Yeah. A mother knows.
Yeah, I think everybody who watched the story from day one seen it off rip. It was obvious.
Yeah. Yeah. But don't get it twisted, because I seen some supporters. It was some people supporting that. I didn't really understand it, but y'all know how I ride. I leave everybody to their own opinion. But I had mine. And they were suspect coming out the gate. That's it.
Yeah, day one.
Day one. And at that point, it was really just about bringing out the details to prove it. That's it. That's it. But we definitely want to get into speak your piece if any of you guys wanted to come up. Because I know some of you in here have watched the trial. So we can drop the link and see if anybody want to come on up here. Let me put this in here for y'all. We ride.
All right. Yeah, this is going to be some.
Yeah, because it was a whole bunch of lies, man. And like I said, the state, he did a wonderful job laying his case out.
He certainly did.
The defense didn't stand a chance. He summed everything up in those closing arguments. I wish we could play it for y'all.
And you know something too? The defense, what they failed to do, what they could have done, should have done, that would have just shut the whole damn state case down, was proof of life.
Yeah.
Proof of life. To mess their entire timeline up. No, it didn't happen because here's a picture. The pictures that were supposed to be on Jacqueline's phone. The recent ones that she said she took. But yet the police had her phone. Yet there were no recent pictures.
Right.
Proof of life is what they didn't prove. That's the hard part for the defense. So that's one of the big reasons why they had to attack everything outside of that.
They had
Police department, chop them up. They don't do their job right. They don't know how to investigate. One doesn't know how to question. Napolitano's expert witness that came in at the latter part of the case to close up the defense's case didn't even interview any of the children.
None. And I just didn't understand what she was doing up on the stand.
Yeah, she was just a show prop, to put her credentials on the table and to be used, likewise.
Right.
Here's a woman that knows what she's talking about. She's had all these years and did all these things and yada, 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 but yet she never was there presently to interview any one of the children to get a connective activity going or communications going that would even give her the information that she needed to say what she really needed to say that she didn't say. She couldn't say.
Right. And all it was, they brought her up to go against how the kids were interviewed.
Right.
How the siblings were interviewed, because they kept talking about the document PC 26, which they said was for a child suspect. And this is what they kept hammering on, that they basically used the wrong form to interview the kids. But to me, it still didn't take away from the information that was gathered from talking to those kids. And if you heard the interviews, I didn't see anything wrong with the line of questioning to those kids. I didn't see anything.
I didn't either.
But this is what
not to do any implanting like Stalling was trying to impose. This implanting because of the repetition of the questions, same questions, different person, same questions, different person, same questions.
Right.
She tried to infer that the idea was planted or implanted in the child's mind to make the child believe something that didn't happen. Type of thing,
Right.
So it's subjective. It was highly subjective on her part to even consider that fact without having that same professional actually interview the child themselves. And that's going to be critical to the jury to review. But you can't take away one child making the statement, and the statement stands, who was there when Orrin passed. Now it messes up the beginning of the whole entire case on where that statement came about from Jacqueline and Trezell. They didn't go missing.
Right.
You see, in California City, one went missing here, and then the other one, went missing here. And there are two different timelines to that, two different locations.
Right.
So
Let me
it puts
ask y'all
the
this.
original story to bed.
Right. Let me ask y'all this. How do you feel about them being tried together?
They are. My fault. Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, do you think they should have had separate trials?
I never thought of it. Two separate attorneys, I get. I didn't think too much of Hennessy. Like he really didn't come out the gate with anything powerful. Stalling was the mouthpiece that really came out and, put her work in, tried to defend Jacqueline.
Yeah.
And yet Hennessy was scrambled eggs to me. It's all over the place. Any which way you want it. I mean, I can dish it.
Right.
is his kind of thing. And I'm not putting a guy down. He's trying to do his job, which he did to the best of his ability. But I think Stalling was more emotionally involved in the case than he was.
Right.
Representing Jacqueline as compared to Trezell.
Yeah, that just always confused me. I never understood why they had this trial together, but based off of the details, maybe it was because they conspired together to harm kids and do away with these kids.
Yeah, they were together according to a third-party statement that put them together in Bakersfield during the time that Orrin passed.
If we look at it from a large perspective, compared to the 12 jurors, if 90% of America feel or see what we all see, you don't think them jurors see the same thing? I look at it as, okay, you may have somebody who might just want to be against the odds, but there's no way these people don't see what we see. And now that they see a lot more than what we seen from day one, and from day one, we seen what is being presented right now, like them kids never made it to Cal City. A lot of people said that.
Yeah. Yep.
And now that a lot of people found out that they were right, you mean to tell me these 12 jurors gonna say, nah, they ain't do nothing wrong? Man, that's why I said tomorrow, John.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I said before the end of the week, the way the case was laid out, it was sequential. Everything was together. It was a great timeline that was built from Casa Loma to California City, back to Potomac Avenue, to the grandmother's house, Trezell's mother's house. Maria had no clue as to what was going on, when they moved, who the boys' names were, nothing. When she tried to do a FaceTime, she couldn't even see their face. Couldn't see them.
Right.
So evidence is right there coming from all different corners, boxing in both Jacqueline and Trezell's story as it took place from the very beginning. Liar, liar, liar.
Right.
Oh, somebody must have picked them up. Oh, we really did look. And yet they were not even seen on camera. How much did you look? How much did Trezell look? And I bet you the chat can say 6 minutes.
Yep.
So, I mean,
and I don't even
it's all laid out. It's clear.
I was about to say, I don't think we played that part of the video, but when he drove out looking for the kids.
No, that's right. That's right. I mean, there was a night video that was taken on the night that the boys went missing.
Yeah.
And it shows exactly during the timeline of when Trezell came out of the house, got into the van from the passenger side door, who does that, Meanwhile, on the 19th, he gets in the van on the driver's side door, and we've all seen how he did that. But he gets into the van on the night the boys went missing on the passenger side door, closes the door, and then seconds later, the lights come on, the van pulls off, it heads up the street, makes a first right-hand turn, and drives down that way. I can show you on the map, but we're in Speak Your Piece, but y'all know what happened. You don't look for two missing boys for 6 minutes. That doesn't make sense. And if I was a part of the jury, that would make sense either. My kids are missing. I'm out yelling and screaming and making noise and banging on people's doors. Have you seen my kids? Have you seen my kids? And hey, can you help me look for my kids? At 2 little black boys. Oh, okay. What are their ages? 3 and 4? They're running around here somewhere. You think those kids wouldn't have made noise leaving that area?
Right. That's why we call BS from the start. Yeah, we call BS from the start. And I don't understand. And then, we had Trezell leave out to go look for him while Jacqueline stayed back at the house. But he didn't call 911 until he came back.
Until he came back.
That's
so he
insane.
came back, and I think they played portion of the 911 call on how calm he was, and there's no screaming and yelling in the background from Jacqueline. Oh my God, the boys! There would be chaos.
Right, and if you heard those interviews, they were very calm.
Yeah, thank you.
They were very calm.
To go there.
Yeah. That blew my mind. And so Sweets asked this question, y'all. Yeah. Who do y'all think the mastermind of all of this?
I don't know if it was plotted out in the first place, but to cover it up, yeah, I would say Trezell.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he wanted to be the one to go to jail.
Right.
But to even think of how they tried to put this together. Just think about it for a moment. You're one kid in Bakersfield, another shortly after in California City that wasn't even there, almost in a heartbeat, for a heartbeat. You figure, why the second child?
Right. And I still ask that question.
Yeah, why the second child?
And my thing is this: if they came as a package, you can't then only produce one of them.
Right.
Why so I mean, was the second to cover up the first? Shameen, I'm with you. They didn't want those kids. They wanted the money. Yeah, it don't make sense. The breakdown, it doesn't make sense.
That is not.
But we about to be on verdict watch, y'all.
Yeah, this is gonna be pins and needles for a lot of people, and if we get word that jury has come in, that's gonna be a heartbeat of a moment for everyone that's been following this case.
Yeah.
Especially if it's tomorrow.
Oh man.
Especially if it's tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna be tuned in.
I really don't think that the jury has a lot to go through according to what the state presented in its closing arguments. A great summary of everything that they were able to put on, minus the evidence that may have been suppressed before they got to trial.
Yeah.
Because once again, Police Chief John Walker didn't take the stand. And he was part of the investigation, a major part of it in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, we on verdict watch, baby. We riding. We still riding. We on verdict watch. So I'm all ears. And I wish it was televised. Again, I wish it was, but it's not. So You said you think they always plan to get rid of the kids.
Too much. What 34 and 36. Jacqueline, what, 34, 33. Trezell, 35, 36. Young couple, 6 kids, all under 12. 6.
Yeah. Yeah, incognito on with you. It was clear to me. I've been saying that all day. It's clear. And the way the state summed this up, man, I'm telling y'all, when you seen the details laid out, I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then did y'all hear moments of the closing arguments where he was like, now let's break this down. I was like, look at him trying to be like 54. Okay, then let's break it down, baby. And that's exactly what he did. If you listen to those closing arguments today and you can't put 2 + 2 together, you lost in the sauce out here.
Yeah,
because he made it clear. He made it clear what happened here.
Yeah, that's why I feel like they should not be deliberating very long.
I don't think so.
Ain't no way.
Now let me ask y'all this before we ride on up out of here.
Okay.
How would you feel if they came back with a not guilty verdict?
Oh boy. Somebody missed something.
Emotion? Will you be driven by emotion? Is what I want to know.
Somebody missed something. Something. Somebody missed something.
Well, we're gonna let you start that question.
I'm gonna feel some kind of way. I'm gonna feel some kind of way, man.
Oh man,
that's gonna be one of them. I'm gonna have to take that to my reaction to the smoke session.
Oh,
I ain't gonna be able to come out to y'all like that because I'm gonna feel some kind of way. Because, like I said, the details that I seen from the beginning, even the details that was added, it all makes sense. How could you see it any other way?
Right.
That I guess that's my my thought process. How can you see it any other way?
That little BS that defense attorney tried to put in there earlier today when she was talking about, well, if you have this and it, you can't prove it. Well, what she said, John, how did she put it? I think when they was trying to say reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
The innocent and the guilty, you got to go with the innocent.
No. Yeah. I mean, she tried to push it.
She was pushing that, bro.
Yeah, she tried to push it because Eric Smith came at, when he asked and that final statement, that you, the jury, should come back with a guilty verdict, and he did his job when he nailed that door. And I said, yes, that's the best way to close because that's what all the information led to. Their story in the beginning versus what you now know about what really happened is what you have to go back into deliberation to decide. You believe their story or the story that you were told here in this courtroom.
Right.
That's what they have to decide on. Just those two things. And to say beyond any doubt, you can't go back there and deliberate and say, oh, well, the boys are still missing. Not when you have a third party that said something else. Can't do it. Bakersfield, you can't do it. California City thereafter. You can't do it according to that statement. And then they tried to shoot the kid in the head, so to speak, for lack of a better word or metaphor, to go after the kid and try to tear apart his statement.
Yeah,
I mean, they tried to pull everything out of the books on this one, the defense attorneys, but to me, they didn't do it. Because once again, it just leaves us with the beginning of the story and now what they do know. So,
yeah, we got somebody that's slid through the back door on us.
Okay.
You got Miss Chi-Town in the building.
Oh,
Hey guys, what's going on?
My
what
smoke
is up?
sister.
How y'all doing?
Good, doing good.
Good,
Okay,
good.
I have a few questions and I think that I kind of missed, and I heard you guys kind of go over it at the tail end. But what bothered me is the part about the police body cam footage. I know that they said that the timing was off. So does that mean that the entire footage was that all messed up, or could they still use the footage that was recorded, even though that the timing, wouldn't have matched up?
I mean, if
Because
we
they
going
still
off,
use. Oh,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I don't remember if they clarified that in the trial or not.
I mean, because they still used information from those body cams.
That's what I was wondering. Because I mean, okay, it's one thing if the timing, was off or whatever, but I'm like, I would think that they would still be able to utilize the actual footage, because I don't think that that came up. It was just the timing, right?
Just the timing. Yeah, just
Okay.
the date and the
Yeah.
time was incorrect.
Okay. I don't know. This whole case is just so crazy. It's really sad that this actually even happened. And I'm with y'all. I think that this was just a money grab. They didn't really give a damn about these kids. They
Yeah.
Now,
really didn't.
let me ask you this, Chi-Town, and I
Hmm.
want to ask everybody. Like, I know they foster parents, they adopt the kids. Why did they wait to do it to these kids instead of the ones that happened before them? You ever thought about that?
I was thinking about that as you guys were talking, and I was wondering, was this despite the biological mom? Like that I wonder if the foster mother and the biological mom might have had beef.
Mm. I don't
Just it just seems like that to me, because if we go back to when they did the press conference, one, we see that Trezell seemed like he was the head person in charge. He didn't want the wife to speak or say anything. So she was just like, going on what he was saying and taking his lead. And I'm like, wait a minute, bitch. Can you, think for
Right.
yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? Because I mean, they looking at some serious time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going down for no stuff because you decide that you just want the money. You don't care about these kids.
Right.
I just don't understand that. And grandma, aunt, because I know I'm an aunt, you know what I mean? And I love my nieces and nephews. Ain't no
Mhm.
way in the world I'm gonna, go visit, and then I'm not gonna, do what I need to do to try to, put eyes on them to make sure, whether or not they're alive, or, about their well being. I mean, like you said, kids earlier, what grandma don't, put eyes on them and make sure that she can prove that they actually are alive. Like you
Right.
just don't ride and your eyes are just closed. I just don't understand that.
Right.
Right. And you know, Chi-Town, that's why I felt like when a lot of people question the grandmother or the grandparents, like
Hmm.
what would they have to benefit from helping them kill these kids? You feel what I'm saying? They ain't getting none of
Absolutely.
that money.
Yeah, that's why it kind of gave me weird vibes. That's why I'm wondering. And I know that's a different angle, but I just kind of was just thinking about that.
Right.
Maybe it was, an issue between the two mothers. They
Mm,
didn't really want them to have, or any chance of possibly trying to get them back, even though we know that, they adopted them or whatever. But it was just strange. His whole demeanor to me was really off during that the press conference, because he couldn't
Yeah.
stand still, and then his answers were all over the place, if you ask me.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I agree with that.
Now what's interesting to me, as now that we're this far into the trial, if I'm facing to being convicted of unaliving somebody, why wouldn't they tell where the kids' bodies are?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't going down, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna try to see if I can cut a deal or some shit. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't, I
Yeah.
don't understand. He comes off very arrogant to me, like, oh, they'll never catch up with me, or I'll never be found out. He gives
Like
me those
he's
kind of vibes.
yeah, like he's smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, he the sharpest knife in the bunch, and no, sir, you're not. Because who the hell waits until what, after you do the 5 or 6 minute little fact find mission to try to see if you go find these kids? It just don't make sense to me, because I would think that, if your kids are gone, you would at least call the police before you leave.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you would spend way more time, driving around the neighborhood and, questioning people and stuff like that. I know for me, Ain't no way in the world that I'm just gonna come back to the house after 5 or 6 minutes.
No, absolutely not.
That don't
Yep.
make any sense.
Yep.
And one of the most importantly for me, the fact that they told me 2 kids went missing. I was like, wait, what?
Right.
So at the beginning of the story, I'm like, so
Mhm.
not 1 kid, but 2?
Right.
Oh no. That right there that was just a red flag for me. My antennas was up.
Okay. Exactly. I guess I would have expected that at least the foster mother would have tried to make some sort of a deal with the state. You know what I mean? If she truly
Yeah.
is innocent, I just can't see them coming back saying that they're not guilty. Because to me, they're guilty all day long. This just
All day.
it don't make no sense. Their actions and how they were moving seems real suspect to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I put this up on the screen because while we was watching the trial, I kept texting every time, you know, the defense said something. I was like, where are the footprints, ma'am? Where are the footprints? Like, y'all trying to no, you're not gonna make me believe anything other than they did something to these kids.
Absolutely. I think the smoking gun was the oldest testimony.
Yeah.
You know, with them repeating, you know, what they actually saw, because you can't refute that.
You
That
can't.
would be something burning in the back of my mind if I was one of the jurors. Y'all guilty all day long. I
All
would
day.
spare no mercy. Guilty. You know?
And it lets you know that something happened to one of the boys in Bakersfield.
Right.
Period.
There's no chance.
You know, it destroys the original story, as you know, we opened up tonight's react in regards to what Jacqueline and Trezell said to the press. So how could one of the kids pass in Bakersfield when you're here telling us that they went missing in California City, California in December?
Exactly.
How does that
Exactly.
work? How does that work?
That's right.
You know, and that's what the jury has to tend with. And so it should be, I'm thinking and I'm hoping and I'm praying, it should be easy for the jury to isolate their story and then go into the trial, begin isolating all of the witness statements and the circumstantial evidence, because they have no bodies, they've got no DNA, all the stuff that, you know, would help. They have to rely on circumstantial evidence
I was just about to say that.
in order to prove that.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely was a circumstantial case.
Yeah, most certainly across the board. And so these circumstantial evidence cases are in depending on the degree, some are hard and then some are simple. And I think what the prosecution laid out was absolutely simple, easy to understand, sequential timeline, all the events that occurred all up until the 911 call was made was all covered. And then he came back a second time to reemphasize exactly his case summary. And I said, hell, I can't, you know, I'm going in the jury room to deliberate. I'll be out in 5 minutes.
That's it. To me, they got too much convincing evidence to show that this was more of a calculated, conspired act.
Conspiracy.
Because I was wondering, because I think I heard you guys talk about what the defense submitted as far as their closing argument. Was that the only thing that they talked about was, trying to bring down or trying to discredit the police's body cam video footage?
Yes. Yep.
That and those kids, the testimony of the siblings.
And see, if that was the case, you would think that, they would, have something else. I don't think that they have enough to be able to prove that they innocent. I really don't.
I don't either.
They was just moving too funny. Exactly. And some of the neighbors saying that they didn't even see the kids or didn't even know that they even had the kids.
Right.
Right.
And
because they couldn't deliver proof of life.
Right.
That was a tough part for them.
Yeah.
And I put this up here because Lena said they know we will never find those babies.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Lena, I'm gonna be honest with you. I believe that.
Hmm. I do too. I really do. They went to great extent to
Absolutely.
hide these babies' bodies. I feel like that they moved the bodies like several times. That's just, my opinion, but just based off, what has been, released so far, I don't think that they was counting on the neighbors was it ring camera footage that you
No.
guys put up?
Oh no, not that one. No, that was
Okay.
from actual camp. Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. Because I thought that one of you guys support or showed the video footage of one of the neighbors that actually looked at or had a vantage view of the foster parents' home.
Yeah, they did. It just wasn't one of those ring things. It was like an actual camera. Like,
Oh, okay, okay, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
the
but it's
same camera that caught them leaving on the 19th of December.
hmm
Yeah, the same camera on the 20th was operating that caught Trezell get into the van and do his little 6-minute around the block deal and come back
right,
when police
exactly.
showed up. Yeah, same camera.
yeah.
Wow. So then we don't have any other footage that they released to show any other movement prior to this.
No, see, because understand this, we haven't gotten any of the footage. That the stuff that we showed was
Hmm.
what we gathered from the beginning. Because don't forget, the trial hasn't been televised,
Right.
so we don't know what they're showing. We're listening, but we haven't seen it.
Okay. I wondered about that too because I've seen some other YouTubers kind of showing some video footage of parts of the trial, but I didn't understand that. I thought it was just only audio.
I think they did. I
Well, they
know
did
open
openings,
yeah,
opening arguments, opening statements in the
opening statement.
beginning,
Hmm.
and the judge had closed that portion of it to go audio.
Okay, so
So we
nobody
got
really
from
had.
that,
Okay.
yeah, from the opening to
Hmm.
audio, and then once they closed, then the judge opened that area back up. So if there was anything caught in the closing arguments of both the prosecution and defense, that may
Hmm.
show up. It may show up tomorrow. It may
Yeah.
show up tomorrow.
I think that this is pretty much a open and shut case. I don't think this verdict is gonna drag on out because I mean it's really nothing else to consider after the testimony that we gotten and that video footage definitely to me did it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now the reason behind that it just doesn't make any sense because it seems like it was a plan or pre-planned already that they were going to do this to get rid of these two little boys. And my thing is, why not even try to give the biological mom the opportunity to get the kids back if they didn't really care for the kids?
I've
Right.
always said that. I've always said that. If they didn't want those boys, they could have went back to child services
Mm-hmm.
to let them know, this is too much for us. 6, we made a mistake. We can't handle it. Yada, yada, yada. We'd like to
Right.
have the boys returned back to the biological mom. But it
Right.
never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Never happened.
Yeah, this case is really strange. I mean, they didn't offer any other because I don't think either Trezell or the wife, right? They didn't testify.
No, they bet not had got up on that stand.
Oh, no,
I mean,
no.
they do have a right to. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
Yeah, they
it's
do.
their life on the line.
They
So,
do. But
absolutely. They was
that
gonna
would have,
get towed up there.
oh
No,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
no,
yeah.
No,
Actually,
way.
it would be just because what they're given or what they have already provided, it just don't make any logical sense of their movement.
yeah, but the prosecution would have ripped them to shreds from night
Mhm.
one, from the 911 call, all the way through their activities.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now you keep them off the bench, you keep them sitting down, and let the attorneys, chop out exactly what they need to chop out, which they
Mhm.
did, and to the best of their ability, that's all they can do.
Yeah.
They did not prove proof of life. That's the hard part. And people will see that when the ruling comes back.
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
hard thing when you can't do proof of life after the fact. Here
Mhm.
you say, they went missing. You got to prove. You got to prove they went missing. Where's the proof of life before that time? See, and that's what they couldn't prove.
Right.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Thanksgiving. Come on, Thanksgiving.
Right.
October, September. Kids are going back to school.
Mhm.
August, July, June, 4th of July. Where's proof of life?
Exactly.
And that's what they couldn't deliver.
I think I heard you guys mention about she said that she had pictures of the kids.
Yeah.
Was that the actual case, or did they actually find pictures in her phone of all of the kids?
This was pictures in her phone
Yeah, because they
during
keep saying
2019.
July. Okay,
Yeah, this was during 2019.
Mm-hmm.
They had pictures then in her phone,
but no
and it's
reason.
the same pictures that's out on the internet.
Yeah.
2018, 2019. Yeah.
Yeah, because they mentioned July.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it had been a minute.
Right, that's strange too, because I mean, if they truly cared about the kids, I mean, that's typical of what parents would do is you take video or some sort of photos of the kids, enjoying, summertime or some vacation or, just capturing family moments. I don't know, it just seemed like a money grab from the beginning to me, like they really just did not give a damn about these kids.
Right.
You see, everybody saw tonight what California looks like from the Google Earth.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of nowhere. It looks like a moon crater out there in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
And it takes an hour for them to get from that location all the way back to Bakersfield.
Mm-hmm.
Between them and Bakersfield is nothing but open terrain.
Yeah, they had a lot of opportunity to get rid of these bodies.
Yeah, means, motive, opportunity.
So what do y'all think what they did with their bodies? Do you guys think that they possibly put them in a cooler and maybe dump them in a dumpster or something? And
I'm gonna be honest, when I heard the neighbor talking about that blue cooler,
my
mind went way to the left. Way to the left.
Me too.
And I suspect, and this is just my opinion, but I suspect that they was doing the deed then.
Yeah, I think that's when the plan was in motion to move their bodies.
Yes.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's more likely than not that's typically pretty much what happened.
Yeah, they had the time, they had the means, and they had the motive.
Right.
Every time the kids was supposed to be with somebody, they weren't with somebody else.
Exactly. I think I heard one of you guys mention about one of the seats were burned in the van. What was that about?
This was back in you're talking about Wanda's house.
Wanda's house.
One of the car van seats was captured in a video picture, also done by AV Watchmen.
Okay.
When they went out there in front of Wanda's house to protest. Why aren't you looking? Why don't you come out and help us to look for the boys? They never, decided in any way, shape, or form to work with the YouTubers that went out there, who's out there in California, to search for the boys. No search party at all. Nothing on the news. Nothing other than, they keep harassing us. I wish they would leave us alone. We miss the boys just as well as everybody else. And, crying that game. But never once went out there to assist Bakersfield police as well as California City Police.
That's because they was guilty. They knew that they was responsible for doing this, and they didn't want anybody to really go out and do search missions to try to see if they can find these babies.
Right. Yeah. And I found this picture right here. I remember taking a screenshot of this. I think this is the one they said was the last picture. And as you can see, July 25th of 2020, that's a picture of I think they
you mean that picture. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. And you said this was back from 2020?
Yeah, it's dated July 25th of 2020.
Yeah,
Wow.
I forgot about that one.
Oh my goodness.
And that's supposedly Orson. Is that Orson? Wait a minute.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Wow. This is a really sad
It's a bad one,
situation.
too.
Well,
It's
if we know
sad
anything, they're gonna be I think they're gonna get some significant time. I don't think there's no gonna be anything there where they're gonna be able to just get on, out real soon or, anything like that. Cause I mean, I think this case is so high profile, it just attracted so many people to this particular case to find out what happened to these boys.
Yeah.
This is just sad, but wow. Man, I'm glad that you guys covered this because I missed a few of the points that you guys were talking about. But it's really sad that this had to happen like this. For what reason?
Yeah. And it was just a ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have a young Black mother who's lost custody of her children,
Right.
and they was placed with someone else who,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm because this is how I feel, but they were placed with somebody who then killed them.
Right. That's
That's
why I always
terrible.
wondered, if there was some sort of beef with the foster mom.
That I'm not sure. Nothing, stuck out to me as far as that goes.
Well, you got to think about it, that type of mind, a criminal type of mind like that, they're going to find something that's going to motivate them to do something on this level. Don't know
Right.
everyday people can, make up or concoct some sort of story or, try to go underground or do this type of stuff to kids that, they really don't give a damn about. That's really sad.
Right. It is what it is said. Changing their names said a lot. I said the same
Absolutely.
thing. I said the
Mhm.
same thing.
Right. So it's like if she was trying to spite the biological mom. The one thing I could say is that even though the biological mom, had some mishaps in her life, she definitely cared about them kids because she showed up.
It's funny you mentioned about the names too. I was sitting here this afternoon and I said, and I heard the closing arguments and I said, AA, DD, and OO. Adrian, Aiden, AA,
Yeah.
DD. What do you have? Devin and
Yeah.
what was the other?
Devin and Damien.
Damien, and then OO, Orrin
Mhm.
and Orson. And I said, wow, what a process.
Right.
Wow.
What a process, to choose two boys each, all beginning with the same letter, two boys, their
Yeah.
biologicals, and then the first
Mhm.
foster kids that they had, DD, and then OO. And I'm going,
Mhm.
okay.
Right. That's why I say that to me, Trezell was the mastermind because I'm surprised that part wouldn't have come out or whatever, but it just gives me those eerie vibes from him.
Yeah.
Like he, set out to do this, with the naming convention of the kids and stuff, and the wife was just going along what he was pushing.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. I don't really get it. I couldn't put myself on the line like that because I mean these some yards that they looking at. That's a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just weird to me. He just seems like, he's real, caught up in the power struggle and he all, has to control the narrative and,
Like
run
he's
everything.
dominant. Yeah, he's dominant.
I got
Mhm.
your message, boss. I got your
Right.
message, man. I was like, oh, damn, okay. I got your message.
You did it, though.
Right.
No, that bothered me. I'm like, okay, who does that?
Right.
ADDOO.
Mm-hmm.
What you just got finished putting up there, and I'm going, oh man, just eliminate one of the letters off of what I said, and you get something, and it's like, okay.
Right. Yeah, controlling. He has that depraved mind mentality to me that will come up with this type of mentality. like I don't know. I don't know if they had some sort of, vendetta or some sort of issue, or maybe that, maybe we never were privy to. Because what if it was some, some stuff between, how he felt with the biological parent?
Yeah. Yeah. But what we do know is that Trezell started this story off in the beginning. He was the one
Mm-hmm.
who had a mastermind about it because he's the one who opened up the story. Okay, it was cold. I want to get some wood.
Right.
And,
Yeah, that was weird to me.
okay, Jacqueline said, "Yeah, from our yard," and then here he comes. Okay, it was cold.
Mm-hmm.
So it would give you the impression that okay, this is his story. This is the
Yeah.
one he's coming up with since the boys were outside,
Mm-hmm.
and he was more in the vicinity of the boys than she was in the house, being inside the house. So he had to start.
Right.
So
And then that
that's
was one of them things too that came out in the trial because he said once he realized they was missing, he came back into the house and Jacqueline wasn't in the living room. But then she said, she then told them I was in the living room, I was wrapping presents. Like their stories was not the
Mm-hmm.
same. And that's what they
started
pointed out
banging.
in this trial. And one of the things that I really loved about, which is why I like watching this kind of stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
you get to see them put on the show and they put all these pieces out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to closing argument, they take all those pieces and put it in and package it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And put a bow on it and then give it to the people. And I love the process. I love the
Mm-hmm.
process.
Yeah, I think that if they had been really innocent, it wouldn't have went this way. He was just weird to me. The way that he, was behaving at the press conference to me is kind of what said it. You know how your body language kind of speaks more than, your words. And then
Yeah.
of course when Jacqueline would try to open her mouth and say something, it was like that, unspoken thing. Okay, shut your mouth. You know what I mean? You better not say nothing else. Or don't say
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just come off to
Yeah.
me like that.
DOA, that's what I
She
said.
just wanted that
DOA,
damn
dead
press
on
conference
arrival.
over. Yep.
That's crazy.
She wanted it over. And if anybody sees anything, just call the police. Are we finished? Are we
Right.
done?
Like we bothering them. Like,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Just weird. So I say lock all their ass up, even the other people, the family members, because it just don't make no sense. I just don't understand how could you not be involved or at least ask.
Right.
Show some sort of concern or something to you, like you guys said earlier, to verify proof of life. Like who wouldn't want to know
Right.
whether or not if your kids or your grandbabies or niece and nephew or whatever are, not how they doing and what's going on with them, or love and hug on them and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just weird.
That's why, like I said, it's verdict watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be on this kind of stuff real heavy back in the day. Like I said, I've always been a crime buff, but like I love verdict watch. It just had me on the edge of my seat, and I'm waiting, and I'm basically I want to know if I was right. Like, was I right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I always suspected, like I said from day one,
Yeah.
that
I think I would be taken back if they come back with a not guilty verdict. But given all the information and all the evidence that they submitted, I can't see how they would not be able to find them guilty.
right. And I'm
Well,
praying.
it's 7 counts for Trezell and 7 for Jacqueline.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, if what they investigated the night of December 20th of 2020 that had no finding or no rule, then the first thing about making a falsified 911 call, that'll stick.
Mm-hmm.
It's a misdemeanor. You go to child cruelty.
I was about to say that. What about that part?
Now we start to escalate up, because now they have to find them guilty on 6 counts each now. Child cruelty will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because those kids was telling them that they would spank them till they bled.
Yeah.
They was
Wow.
putting them in the chokehold and holding them down until they stopped crying. Like, it was just crazy. The stories that
Yeah.
came out was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous. That's why I said he had to be the mastermind. Because I mean, who asked the kids whether or not you think that they should call the police? Like they know.
Yeah, that's
Like
insane.
Right.
that's crazy to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
he came up with this crazy ass shit. You know,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like they just throw both of them up under the damn jail and throw away
yeah.
the
And those
kids.
kids was definitely isolated. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and that's what you see in abusive homes too. You know,
Right.
nobody's
Yeah.
seen the kids. Nobody's seen these people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was, to me, it was a lot going on behind the scenes, man. And I believe, all those
Mm-hmm.
kids seen some things that a child shouldn't see.
Right. I think that they probably thought that they weren't going to go this deep into the investigation. They probably thought
Yeah.
it was going to be an open and shut, with them, that they wouldn't, get to this point where charges are actually brought against them.
Yeah. No bodies, no evidence, no DNA.
Hmm.
They don't have anything.
Right.
So what more could they get other than what we've told them? Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, they found out.
Exactly. And I don't believe that there is no statute of limitations on murder or any of
No,
these charges. So
there isn't. There
even if they
isn't.
came back with not guilty, I think that they will probably retry the case, if anything.
Is that possible?
Yeah, I think that would they
Double
call
jeopardy.
that double jeopardy.
Yeah, double jeopardy.
Once you've been, convicted or not convicted, you can't come back and try to redo the case afterwards. Not in
Right.
this case, not in this one.
Mm.
To
Yeah.
find them guilty, they have to find them guilty on 7 counts each. And we know that a good portion of those counts are going to stick. That's why I said child cruelty is going to be one of them that's going to stick.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you have a witness that says that one child was being fed from a bottle
Oh
because
wow.
they didn't
Yeah,
eat
that's
their
right.
food, so they had to grind it up and
Mm-hmm.
have the other child punch the other child.
Yeah.
So right there you have a statement that was irrefutable.
Mm-hmm.
Defense did not touch that.
Wow.
Defense stayed on something else.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking that I don't think that we're gonna get a not guilty.
Yeah, so the defense stayed away from Bakersfield more so than they stayed away from California City, California.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do
No
we know
time.
do you guys know what the other charges are? Because I didn't look into that.
You've got
It was
second degree
second
murder,
degree. Yeah.
between the two of them.
Okay.
Child cruelty between the two of them, and then you have the 911 call, falsified statements between the two of them.
I think involuntary manslaughter
And
was in
now,
there, too.
with the second indictment that came in, what was it? June 10th.
Mm-hmm.
March 1st was the first indictment by Cynthia Zimmer. And then June 10th, the second indictment came in for the manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter charge. And now you have, they brought in a third party in regards to the commission of a crime, which basically said we got a witness, which was one of the kids.
Right. Okay, so they got some serious felony charges.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's one thing they couldn't attack too much.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they stayed in California City. Prosecution stayed before California City.
Wow.
So when you bring the two cases together, you can see the state's case that happened the 3 months earlier than the 911 call in place, which Eric Smith, the prosecutor, laid out brilliantly this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tora Stalling and Hennessy brought their case out the best way they could based upon the time of the month of December. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. till the kids were interviewed. And so they stuck their case on the police, the interview, the professional, what the police didn't do, what they failed to do, the sex offender list that they did not, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things.
Oh, wow.
It's a whole bunch of things that she tried to lay this case off on was California City, California. When she come back to Bakersfield, she couldn't touch it. None of it. So the main thing that they had to do was attack the 10-year-old for their statement.
Yeah.
To try to get some leeway there. But in my opinion, they couldn't do it with Napolitano, with the expert that they brought in, because she never interviewed the kids.
Right.
She didn't do it. She didn't do it.
Wow.
All she could say is, hey, I watched the movie, and this is what I got from it. I read the reports. This is what I got from it. Just her opinion. Nothing that she physically done herself to know for sure that would have added a little bit more spice to the case. All she was doing was watching videos and reading reports. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Later on with you, they had enough to take it to trial, and now they're in deliberation. So now we on verdict watch, y'all.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's verdict watch now.
Yeah, I guess we will see what happens. It's not like they can't convict them. It's even if they don't have, their bodies, they can still proceed with these charges. So you're right. We'll see. But this is really a sad case. It really is. I really feel for the biological mom.
Yeah. Ryan Dean, my God. I can imagine what her family is going through.
Right. She probably is blaming herself, for the mistakes and, the mental torture that she's going through and the anguish and, just the loss of a kid is a lot to deal with itself,
Yeah. I mean, she worked hard to try to get them back, followed the Children's Services protocol and all this other stuff. And before you know it, once she possibly got to a certain point where she felt confident to know that she could get the kids back, they were already adopted. And she didn't even know that.
Wow, they're so
didn't even know it. Didn't even know it. Because they were adopted, April of 2019, I think it was.
Wow, it sounded like they had already terminated her parental rights then. And
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Being written or told that your kids are out of the system. Foster kids to adoptive kids, that quick. So I thought during the course of the case, Child Protective Services would have come into court to make a statement.
Right.
For the reasons why things went the way they did, but that didn't show up.
That's really strange. So that got me wondering whether or not if Child Protective Services did the right thing, that they, really crossed their T's and dot their I's, because aren't you supposed to notify the parent that their parental rights have been terminated?
Right.
Before, adoption? Like, that's a lot.
They're supposed to. And especially out for, from what I found, California City, Bakersfield has what is called as post-adoption services, where they make arrangements with the biological family in regards to not only that notification that we're talking about, but to make the transition of the adoption regarding visitation, being able to at least be somewhere in their lives up until, everything, transpires successful. So I found that strange. I found it strange.
I have to agree. And poor the biological mom, I can only imagine what she's going through right now. And have been going through, giving that hope. When you have that hope that, you could possibly get your babies back, you're going to go hard in the paint if, do all you can to try to, make that happen before it to not happen like that. And they just go and adopt these kids out. But I can definitely see it as a money grab for them too.
Yep.
Yeah. This is so sad, but yeah, I'm glad you guys are covering this case and stayed on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when it makes it to trial,
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah.
we was fighting for.
Exactly.
We here
Exactly.
now, baby. We here. It's verdict watch. We
Right.
here. And so, I want y'all to, stay riding because we waiting just like y'all waiting.
Seriously, I kind of wish that they would have televised this because I would love to see their body language and their disposition, as the trial continued on. Because sometimes I can kind of tell you a lot about, what they're thinking and, how they, gonna proceed. Not always, but sometimes, I think.
Right.
But
yeah. Well, we just gotta wait and see.
Right.
That's where we at with it right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. Yeah, but I'm glad y'all came out. Y'all was riding with us, and some of y'all wasn't even familiar with the case. So
yeah,
look into it. This hit different.
It did. For
Talking
sure.
about two kids going missing at the same time. It hit different.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, we here. We on verdict watch, all of us.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised if a text message in our indoors chat. So, they came back. Be about what 12 o'clock our time or something like that. And so, damn, he was right.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't take them that long.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I really don't see them deliberating for days on end about this because it's not really that much. But then again, you just never know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree. I think the state actually did a really good job with laying out the information and evidence and stuff. So I guess you're right. We'll see. But thank you guys for covering and having the roundtable. I definitely enjoyed it as usual.
We appreciate you, Shy, and I'll see you
Definitely,
at the session, baby.
Right. All right, then. See you guys later.
Okay, we appreciate you, Shy.
All right. Bye-bye.
I'm glad y'all came out. Like I said, I realized that some of you didn't even know about the case. But this is one that me, Boss, and John covered in the beginning of it. And it feels good to be sitting right here, right now.
Yes, Lynn. Once we find out when that verdict comes in, you will most certainly see us go live.
Oh yeah.
Once we have that, because if there's anything about it that we're staying very close to, is the verdict.
Absolutely.
So as soon as it comes in, you're gonna have us right back here again.
We popping out.
Yeah.
We gonna pop out. Listen, buckle up. We popping back out.
We're going right to the belt. We're going right to the belt with it.
Yeah. So like I said, I appreciate, all you guys coming out riding with us, the support, everything, even for Classic, Sincere, Orrin, Orson, whatever names you're going by. We was riding for them tonight. This was all about them.
Yeah.
So like I said, we on verdict watch, y'all. We about to get on up out of here. When we hear it, we coming. We coming. We'll be here. We'll be here. So yeah, we ain't gonna hold y'all too much longer. This was supposed to just be a react video. We always say that. And then be like, wait, we almost 3 hours in, but it's always good talking to the chat and y'all keep y'all riding. So it's always good cutting up with y'all. So yeah, we're gonna get on up out of here, y'all, and we appreciate y'all coming through, man. We was riding tonight for Orrin and Orson.
Much love.
Whoa. Yeah, we got it bumping.
You need to disconnect that cable, cause if you want the truth, we at the round table. We give it real when the mothers ain't able. That's what it is when we at the round table.